Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to be coming to you again for one of these 5 good-minute videos where we recap a little bit the scripture and topics we talked about on Sunday with the real goal of trying to figure out how do I live them out in my everyday real life. And before we get into Sunday, though, I do just want to invite you again to join us tomorrow. It's Wednesday, February 5th, starting at 6 p.m. as we're restarting our community nights, which is also our small groups. We're going to focus this time on going through the Sermon on the Mount. So the first kind of section of these was focused mostly on building community, getting to know each other. Now we're going to enter more into discipleship. So I hope you'll join us for that. I think the Sermon on the Mount, it's just one of the most sublime teachings that has ever been given and will help us to focus more on how can we walk with Jesus. So again, hope to see you there. Wednesday, starting at 6 p.m., dinner and childcare are provided, so just come. But now as we look into Sunday, so ironically, I'm coming to you on a virtual platform in order to talk about this last sermon, which was about being careful with our screen time, right? And I want to be clear again. I'm not saying technology is bad. I'm not saying internet, social media. I'm very grateful for a lot of these things, very grateful. I am in no way, if you know me, a Luddite or anti-technology. But maybe because I am into these things, I also know the danger of it. I know how much time I spend on it. I know how much focus gets lost because of it. And so we talked about kind of some parameters, some boundaries that might help us to be helpful. And I'm not going to go through them all here. If you want, you can check them out. The whole sermon's on our website. But there's just a couple things I wanted to recap. First of all, maybe most importantly, was this number that right now, the average American spends 7 hours a day on screens, on social media, on regular media, on their phones. That is an enormous amount of time. And I know that part of what we're doing there is communicating, and that's good, but it's enormous. And it's growing for each one of the generations. 9 hours is the average for Gen Z. And so when we ask ourselves, why do I feel like I don't have enough time? Why do I feel like things are overwhelming? The problem partly with social media is you get international news constantly when really we can only affect the things that are in our little kingdom, right? And so this is where our time is going. And so what we want to do is try to make technology our servant rather than having it be our master, so that we can have our time go to places that we really think are fruitful. And there's just 2 things that I wanted to specifically encourage you towards as you think about this week. Number 1, we talked about the digital Sabbath. So taking one day in which we don't go on screens, in which we don't go online. I don't mean this in a pharisaical way. I know sometimes there's a moment when you have to, but I think most of us also know the heart. And there's a lot of time that we're on it that really isn't that we need to be on it, but we get distracted by all the videos, by all the news, by all the little comments you want to make. Let's have a digital Sabbath together when we say, one day I will rest from all that. 6 days will I work, but one day will I rest. So that's the first one. The other one is just encouraging us to spend more time in actual face-to-face time than we do interacting through screens, through texts, media, all that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes people live too far away, but whenever it's possible to meet face-to-face, to have actual human interaction instead of through the medium of social media or phones or technology or whatever, let's take it, church. This was already a problem before COVID. COVID made it so normal. It's changed all of us, but we want to change back. So I encourage you, just take this time, think about how can I get together with people in real ways and spend time face to face, even maybe especially in winter when people tend not to do that as much. Invite somebody over, have coffee with them, go on a walk, whatever we can do. And I think that will actually bless us and help us to grow. So with that, I'll sign off here, but I hope to see you tomorrow or Wednesday or whenever you're watching this at community night, face-to-face time, and look forward also to seeing you all Sunday. Thanks, everybody.